My last passenger that night wasn't human. I heard his voice after he disappeared, and he said, "You left me again." I thought it was just exhaustion until my car started reacting on its own, and I saw him sitting behind me again. Because this isn't just a story. Somewhere, someone is still waiting on that road. My name is Fred, and I am from Sri Lanka. For the past 10 years, I have been working as a taxi driver in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Most nights I get good passengers, but after that night, I made a promise to myself. I would never drive at night again. This incident happened on a cold night in October 2023. That night, my last passengers were a Saudi family. I dropped them near a hospital in Kharj, a city about 90 kilometers south of Riyadh. It was around 10:30 p.m. The road back from Kharj is known as a dark, empty highway, long, straight, and completely silent. At night, you can drive for kilometers without seeing a single car. After driving for quite some time, I reached a spot where I saw something unusual. A man standing alone on the side of the road. He was dressed in white and holding a small bag in one hand. In Saudi Arabia, people don't usually get into unknown taxis at night, but this man signaled me to stop. I pulled over and asked, "Where do you want to go?" He replied, "Sulai, an old area in Riyadh." He got into the back seat. I looked at him through the rearview mirror. He was sitting completely straight, his face tilted downward, silent, not saying a single word. The journey continued in silence. There was faint moonlight, and on both sides of the road, only emptiness. After about 15 to 20 minutes, something strange happened. The car's air conditioner suddenly turned off. I thought it was a technical issue, so I reached to turn it back on. Suddenly, the car lights flickered for a moment, and then I felt a cold breath pass right behind my ear. I froze. I didn't dare turn around. Slowly, I looked into the rearview mirror, and what I saw still haunts me to this day. There was no one there. No one. The back seat was completely empty. I immediately stopped the car, got out, and looked around. There was nothing. No person, no car, no sound, only a terrifying silence. When I checked the back seat, there were marks of sand, as if someone had walked straight out of the desert. I started reciting prayers, got back into the car, and drove straight toward Riyadh as fast as I could. But then, something else happened. I received a call from an unknown number. My hands were shaking, but I answered it. On the other side, I heard only one sentence: "You left me again." It was his voice, the same man, but this time, it didn't sound human. It felt like a dead voice, buried under sand. The call ended, and immediately, my car horn started honking by itself. Once, twice, 3 times. What happened after that, even now, makes my body tremble. This was not a dream. I was awake. When I finally reached Riyadh, it was around 12:30 a.m. I went straight to my residence, a building where many foreigners lived. As I climbed the stairs, I kept looking back again and again. It felt like something was following me. I entered my apartment and immediately started praying. But the moment I closed my eyes, I saw a dream. I was standing in a desert. There was a strange whistling sound in the air. Slowly, a man walked toward me. His face was burned, his eyes sunken, as if he hadn't rested for years. He said, "You dropped me on the road." I replied in fear. "You disappeared on your own," he said. "You left me, and now you will see me again and again until you return." I woke up screaming. My heart was pounding so hard, it felt like it would burst out of my chest. The next day, I took a day off and stayed in bed the entire time. When night came, I tried to convince myself that everything was just exhaustion. At around 11:30 p.m., I took the car out again, thinking work would distract me. But then, it happened again. A knock on the right window of my car, as if someone was saying, "Take me back there." I rolled down the window. There was no one outside. I rolled it back up, and then I looked into the rearview mirror. He was sitting there again. I panicked, screamed, jumped out of the car, and ran about 10 meters away. When I turned back, the car was locked and empty. I called a friend of mine, who is also a taxi driver. I told him everything. He said, "Never go back there. Some places are not meant for people. Those who go there either don't return or their souls never find peace. You are lucky you came back." I asked him if anything had happened there before. He told me a young man once had an accident on that road. His car caught fire and he burned alive. By the time rescue arrived, he was already dead. The place you described is the same spot, and the time was also the same. I couldn't take it anymore. No sleep at night, no peace during the day. While driving, I kept checking the mirrors, as if someone was always sitting behind me. Sometimes the horn would go off on its own. Sometimes the car lock would click, as if someone was entering. One night, I made a decision. Either this would end, or I would. I drove back to that same road, praying the entire way. I reached the spot. There was no light, only silence. I stepped out of the car and called out, "If you are here, come out." For a few moments, nothing happened. Then the sand began to move, slowly, rising, as if something was emerging from beneath. And then he appeared, the same man. But this time, his face was no longer burned. He looked calm. There was sadness in his eyes, as if he was finally ready to let go. I asked, "Who are you?" He stepped closer and said, "I was from Riyadh. I had an accident. My car caught fire. People watched, but no one helped. There was a taxi driver, but he ran away after seeing me burn. My soul has been trapped here ever since." I said, "Why did you choose me?" He looked at me and said, "You were the only one who stopped, despite fear. But then, you ran away, and that unfinished moment never let me rest." I asked, "What do you want now?" He took some sand in his hand and placed it in mine. "This is the soil of my grave," he said. "Give it to my father." Then he told me his address. "If this reaches him, I will find peace, and you will be free." I asked, "Why didn't you do it yourself?" He replied, "In 4 years, you were the first person who saw me. I was invisible and to everyone else." The moment I took the sand, he disappeared, and for the first time, I felt peace. I went to the address he gave me. The journey was silent. When I reached, an old man came out. I gave him the soil and told him everything. The moment he took it, it felt like a heavy weight lifted off my body. That night, I slept peacefully, and in my dream, I saw that same young man again. But this time, he smiled and thanked me. After that, I never saw him again. If you enjoy dark horror stories like this, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because the next story might be even more terrifying.